Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. And now the puzzle that is up on screen is the finish of yesterday's puzzle by Oddly Even, which was, of course, turned into a brilliant knitting pattern by Oddly Even Mum. And the colours, actually, there were more coincidences in the colours than I had expected between my version and hers. So that was brilliant. Anyway, I have this up because Simon has sent me today's puzzle in a form in which I'm meant to open it on screen. Now, this is something we occasionally do for each other. I like to see it as a service, but Simon sees it as an enormous trial, which is what it is, really. And it's just to add an element of surprise. So I don't quite know what to expect, but we shall see in a moment. Now, there are a few things to go through. If you follow my Wordle in a Minute at all, I hope you will be as pleased as I am that the New York Times managed to recover my streak. So a couple of weeks ago, I was on a streak of 71 correct solutions, and I did another one, and it restarted my streak at 1. And they've told me that I was somehow logged out, which is weird, because I did nothing different that day. I suppose I may have restarted my PC or something, but it was very odd. Anyway, since I post the videos every day, they acknowledged I had solved it correctly, and they have managed to, as a special favour, because I'm doing it every day and giving them some publicity, they've restored my streak, and I'm now up to about 88, which is brilliant for me. So check out the Wordle in a Minute shorts if you haven't. Now, what else is going on? We've got still a few days left on the Cryptic Scriptures of the Secret Snake Society on Patreon. There's a crossword solve on there as well, so loads going on around the channel. Don't forget all our apps and our merchandise and the links under the video as well. We are very proud of everything down there. We work very hard to make it as good as it possibly can be, I promise you. And yes, we're both trying to test Fistomafel's hunt for a Christmas present for you guys on Patreon. Do join us. I suspect it's brilliant. I'd love to know quite what the final solutions are. Anyway, that is going on. I apologize about my voice, which is still not fully recovered, so a bit raspy today and fraught with coughs. But let us see what Simon has in store for me today. If I've done this correctly, and I often haven't, it should come up now. Okay, 1212 by Florian Wertmann. Okay, well, this immediately starts off a lot of thoughts in my mind, including, firstly, there are very few digits in this grid, and they don't cover a lot of the different Sudoku digits. Secondly, Florian turned into a bit of a nemesis for me during the, it wasn't the 500, during the Guess the Setter solves, where I tried to solve his puzzle called 8 blocks, and I could not grasp without getting a hint that these blocks of 2x2 cells, which included a German whisper and an arrow connecting the two cells on the diagonal, always had to have a 1 in. That was beyond me. So we may have the same sort of problem here, because I think Florian has been getting harder and harder on the puzzles he sent us, and maybe if we're at that level. Now, the other thought I've had is that Simon did actually send this to me 2 days ago, and I was probably meant to do it on the 12th of the 12th, but I haven't, and I apologise. But maybe if we do it, I don't know if Florian released it on the 12th of the 12th, but the title is obviously 1212 because we've got 1212 written in the grid. Now, the rules, you can begin to see how you might get a solution out of this. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That's 1 to 9 in every row, column, and every 3x3 box in the grid. Identical digits cannot be a knight's move apart, so that 1 prevents a 1 appearing in any of these cells, even if other considerations didn't. Identical digits cannot be a king's move apart. So that 1 prevents a 1 appearing in any of these cells. So you just need to know your chess, kings and knights moves. And finally, I see this is an XV puzzle without any X's or V's. Orthogonally adjacent cells may not contain digits that sum to 5 or 10. And that kind of means that none of these cells surrounding this 1 can be a 4 or a 9, because you would make a domino that summed to 5 or 10. Yeah, so it's like an XV puzzle with a negative constraint, and boom, there are no X's or V's in the grid. I don't know how this is going to solve. I'm praying it'll solve much easier than it looks, because it doesn't look easy. But do give it a go on the link under the video. You'll be able to judge from the video length how hard I found it, at least, which may be some guide. I am going to restart my clock. Barely need to do that. Let's get cracking. Well, I can put a 1 in straight away. That's good news. Where does 1 go in row 6? Not in those boxes, and not there by the knight's move. Normally, these knights and kings moves are an absolute bugbear for me. I forget them, but I have a feeling in this puzzle they're going to be so integral that I ought to be able to remember them. 2s, 2 can't be there because of the knight's move, so there's clearly some symmetry going on. Now, that may be the limit of what we can do easily. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to think back to how Simon started the Miracle Sudoku puzzle, because this is a similar breed. I don't know, I was going to mark where 1s can go in this box. By normal Sudoku, not there. By knight's move, not there or there. And by king's move, not there. So, okay, let's put 1s in there. Oh, yes, I'm going to be able to put a 1 in this row, I think. Because 1s in box 2 can't be there by ordinary Sudoku, there by knight's move, or there by king's move, or actually there by knight's move. So 1s are confined there. And what this is telling me now is that 1s in row 3 are very confined. And that 1 sees that cell by a knight's move, that 1 sees that cell by Sudoku, and that cell is where 1 goes in row 3. And I bet I can do the same with 2 in this row. I can. All of those are ruled out by Sudoku, knight's move or king's move. And I can put a 2 in. Now then we're going to get a 2 in one of those cells in column 3 and a 1 somewhere there. Those 1s see both of those positions, either by Sudoku or knight's move. Those aren't possible. That's not possible. So 1 in this box is in one of those, and now it can't be there. I must be able to do the same. I'm going to try and keep using the symmetry because I think it will help. So those positions for 2s say that 2 can't be there. 2 also can't be there because of that 2. So 2 is in one of those cells. Then we're going to get a 2 down in one of these. Now, this one reaches all of those. So 2 is in the corner somewhere. I don't know, is it worth... Well, I'm going to fill in all of these possible 2s up at the top. And all of these possible 1s. And that is all the possible 1s and 2s marked. And it's getting quite interesting for a 1 in row 7, but there do seem to still be 2 possibilities. The trouble is I don't know how to branch this out into different digits. In the Miracle Sudoku, we were looking at a consecutive constraint, so you could now look at 3s. But here it's an XV constraint. I suppose these cells surrounding the 2s can't be 3 or 8 because you would get either an X or a V. That's quite a lot of cells. But it does still leave patterns of places where 3 and 8 can go. Loads here. I don't know. I don't think that's worth marking, but I don't know what I can do. Maybe I can consider individual cells. Right, this cell is next to a 1 and a 2. It can't be 3 or 4. It can't be 1 or 2 by Sudoku. It can't be 3 or 4 by V rule, because it would be 5 if it was a 3 or 5 if it was a 4. It can be 5, 6 or 7, but it can't be 8 because that would make an X, or 9 because that would make an X. So any cell that sees a 1 and a 2 next to it, look at that. I've got a 5, 6, 7 triple. Oh, there's a couple of others. I've got another 5, 6, 7 triple. Well, that's interesting. So the rest of these cells in row 5 and box 5 are from 3, 4, 8 and 9, but we can do a bit better. This can't be 4 or 9 because it's next to 1. It would make a V or an X. This one can't be 3 or 8. This one can't be 4 or 9. This one can't be 3 or 8. Now, does that help or does it not? Maybe it doesn't. That's frustrating. Now, what you put in here is going to have an effect on all of these cells, isn't it? So the low digits are quite constrained here, I think. If this was a 3, 7 couldn't be in any of those places. So 7 would have to be in one of those. If it was a 4, it may be even better. If it was a 4, 6 would be in one of those two, so it wouldn't touch the 4. That would be a 9, clearly. Oh, this can't be 3 or 8 either, because it's touching a 2. So this group of cells must contain 3 and 8. And if that... it can't have a 4 in it, because then these 3 cells would have to contain that 4, the 6 forced out by that 4, and 3 and 8. So this can't be a 4. I don't know. Is that worth... If I could get rid of the 3, that would feel like I'd done something. Actually, yes, because I'm sure symmetry applies with that. Now, if this is a 3, just want to think about this again. 7 goes in one of those, and 3, 7 and 8 have 3 and 8, have to be in that group of cells. So these would be 3, 7 and 8. And these would be 4, 9, 5 and 6. The 9 and 4 would have to be here, not touching the 1. And these would be 5 and 6. And the 6 is fine because it's not touching the 4. The 5 is an annoyingly free digit because it can touch anything without having a V or X consideration. So I don't think I can get rid of 3, but I must be able to get rid of 3 from here because it's the symmetric equivalent, I think. Let me just think about that. If that's a 3, that's an 8, and then 7, 4 and 9 all have to be squeezed into those cells, which is not possible. So that's not a 3. It didn't really advance the cause. That's so annoying. Oh, bingo, look, this cannot be a 2 because it's sitting next to a 3 or 8. That would form a V or an X. If you've been shouting that at the screen, you are right. Now I've only got one place to put 2 in row 3, and that gets rid of all of this pencil marking. Oh, look, it places 2 down here. That places 2. Can I finish the 2s? No, I'm left with an X-wing position, which does happen in these sort of miracle puzzles sometimes. Now, 1, that can't be a 1 because it's next to 4 or 9. Yes. So the symmetry works again. We get a 1 there. That fixes 1 up here. That fixes 1 here. And we're left with an X-wing. Okay, well, that was a big step. That feels like something. Maybe it wasn't much, but that felt good. It was so obvious in a way as well, but it was hard. It's still hard to see that a 4-9 pair there rules out a 1 here somehow. Now, what next? Is that the same as that? I don't know. Sorry. I do know. Do I know? I nearly know. That can't be there, because the third instance of it in rows 4, 5, 6 would be there, and a 4 or 9 sitting next to a 1 is not possible. So that digit is one of these two. I don't know, is that any use? Maybe not. Right, what else can I do? Think about 8s in this column, which can't be there, or here, or here. Not really. What about this 5, 6, 7 pattern? This is an interesting pattern in a knight's move Sudoku. Even forgetting about kings for the moment. Because it means that there are a number of cells. I think none of these cells can be 5, 6, or 7. Because that cell sees all of those. One of them by Sudoku and 2 of them by knight's moves. So all that trio are ruled out of this cell, which can now not be 5, 6, 7, 2, or 1. So it is 3, 4, 8, or 9. And the same is true here. They all see a 2 and a 1. Yeah. And they're nearly forming quadruples in this row and this box and so on. I don't know, that felt surprising. Maybe not clinching. Oh, maybe I have to colour the 5, 6s and 7s. I just haven't got many of them. That's the trouble. I've only got 5 cells filled in with those. The trouble with these cells is if they're 8 or 9, it doesn't do any constraining, because all they have to do is avoid the 2 or the 1 in their box, and they're already doing that. So that just doesn't feel powerful or interesting. What am I not going to get here? Come on. Don't be fatalist. Maybe I can see something still. Some work of noble note may yet be done. Not spotting it straight away, I have to say. Right, what do I need to think about now? 9 and 4 can't be there, or there, or there, or here. Yes, so they're confined to this group. So if that was 8, this would be a 4-9 pair, and that would be 3. And then this would be the 5, 6, 7 group. I can't see why that wouldn't work. Oh, crikey, what on earth? I don't know. there anything else that sees all of those, or all of these 5, 6, 7s? No, there isn't. That's just nonsense. This sees 1 and 2 just like that. That's the same as these. So it's another 5, 6 or 7. How have I not spotted that in all this time? I mean, it probably doesn't matter, but it's still wildly irritating not to be able to see that immediately. Now, what about this? Can this be... Can't be 4 or 9. So it could be 3 or 8, which would be quite constraining. That would... Right, here's why this can't be 3 or 8. Because then you'd have a group of cells here that were 3, 4, 8, 9, and they all see this cell, which is meant to be 3, 4, 8 or 9 as well. Wow, that is quite complicated, but it does work. This cannot be 3, 4, 8 or 9 for that reason. It must be 5, 6 or 7. This is 3, 4, 8, 9 and is the same flavour as that, which is weird, because that in this row sees all those 3 cells and must be there. It also sees those 2. It must be in one of those. And it must be one of those. And that's just getting strange. Oh, I was going to try and work out if that's the same as that. Now, I must be able to do the same here. I can't form a 3, 4, 8, 9 quad there. So that's 5, 6 or 7. This is 3, 4, 8, 9. It must have a partner up there. And then one in one of those 2. Or maybe I've got more 5, 6s and 7s now. Are they worth colouring? Okay, let's make that grey. That can't be in those spaces, so it's there. That can't be in those, it's there. And we'll call this orange. That must be orange. That must be orange. This one can be blue. That's there. That's there. Yes, this can't be 4. This can't be 4 because it is surrounded by all flavours of 5, 6 and 7 and it mustn't touch 6. Yes, that's not 4. This isn't 3 because one of those is a 7. And now we've got an 8, 9 pair and I can fill in these cells, 3 and 4 there. Now, is that going to do anything or is it not? I think we all know the answer. Now, those are, one of these 2 is a 4, so that's not a 4. In this row, one of those 2 is a 3, so that's not a 3. Okay. Come on, what else does this do? Am I just missing something totally similar and obvious? Okay, this can't be 6 because it's flanked by a 4 somehow. So grey is not 6. This is flanked by a 3, so it can't be 7. I felt like I was doing something for a moment. Right, where does 4 go up here? Look, it doesn't go in any of those cells because they all see this. Oh, bingo, it doesn't go in any of those cells because they're all touching a 1. So 4 gets placed here, and that sorts out the X-wing on 2s. I must be able to do something here with 3 that is similar and symmetric. I don't know how we're ever going to break through the symmetry of this puzzle, actually. But anyway, what is it I can do with 3s? I was starting there. 3 cannot be in any of those cells. Yes. 3, 1, 1, not 1. Okay. Now, we've got a 3 in one of those 2. This 3 sees all of those, so one of those is a 3. Oh, we know there's a 3 in one of those, so that can't be 3. Ooh, is there anything else like that we can do? No, that is purple. That's all we know. Okay. Now we've got 3 in one of those two, 3 somewhere here. Yes, that rules out all of these cells. Both of those see both of those. Those are ruled out, so there's a 3 up here. It's not next to the 2, of course. It's there. So we get a 3 in one of these cells, not next to the 2, in one of those two. I thought we would get what that was. This is not the 3. The 3 is here. We know it's one of these. Right, these rule out all of these cells, because either by knight's move, king's move, or Sudoku, wherever 3 is in those two, those are all ruled out. Actually, so is this by knight's move. So 3 is in one of these 3 places. Actually, that was ruled out by the 2 as well, but never mind. 3 is in the corner somewhere there, losing its religion wildly. Now, this means 4 is not there. 4 is in one of those two. 4 is not here because of the king's move from there, so it's in one of those two. It's not next to the 1, it is here. Oh, the symmetry is so useful. Right, and this 4 puts a 4 here in that spot. And then there's a 4 in one of these two, and that has maintained all the symmetry, I think. Let's just take this steady. It's going well. This is not a 4. This is an 8-9 pair, so this is a 4. Oh, the symmetry from the 3 should have told me that. Right, so those two were the same, which is probably not that interesting now. Now, those two cells see all of those, so 4's in the corner up here somewhere. Just going to pencil mark all the 4's. Because we're only, if it's there, then it must be here and there. If it's here, it must be there. So actually there's no 4 in the corner. And I think there's no 3 in the corner, because you either have a 3 there forcing 3 into there, or you have a 3 there which stops that being a 3, makes 1 there, and they both stop 3 being in the corner. So there is no 3 in the corner in this puzzle. That's not a 4, obviously. Oh, come on, what? I feel like I'm very close to a full breakthrough now. 6. Oh, 6 is in one of those two cells in box 4. So it's not there. It's also not here, because that would be next to a 4. So 6 is in one of those 3. And then one of these 2. That rules 6 out of these cells. And it can't be next to the 4. Are all those possible? I feel like they're not, but I don't know why. Now, one of these 2 is a 6, and that rules 6 out of these places, which is interesting. So 6 in this box is also not there next to the 4, so it's in the top row of box 2. That's not a 6. Now, those can't be 6s. Oh, and I'm left with all of these 3 possibilities, am I? Oh, look. This can't be a 6 now, because it would kill off those 2 remaining possibilities for 6 in box 1. 1 by king's move and 1 by knight's move. So, orange is not 6, and the only possible blue, grey or orange 6 is blue. Blue is 6. Okay, does that, yes, that stops this being a 6. Let's see how many 6s we get. Oh, I can't move correctly. Get a 6 there. Ah, it does nothing. Yes, it does. That one is ruled out by knights move from there. 6 also can't be in those cells. Or that one. Ah, phooey. 6 is in one of those. Now, 6 can't be there. Oh, it also can't be there. We can place 6 up here. And that fixes 4. And that fixes 4. And that fixes 4. I love it. And that fixes 4 again. 4 is there in purple. So let's make 4 purple since I was colouring earlier. I may yet have to colour 8s and 9s somehow, but maybe they will finish off somehow on their own. Now, 4s. Have we finished all 4s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have. Now we must be able to do the same with 3s, but I can't remember the logic that got me there. So I was working on 6s. So if I work on 7s, we must come to the same conclusion somehow. Right, those 2 include a 7. So these can't have a 7 in. That's not it. How did I get here with 6s? It was that pair, wasn't it? So those 2 have a 7. So there's a 7 down here somewhere. Right, those 2 see both of those cells. That can't be a 7 because it's next to 3. So one of those is a 7. And now that's not a 7. And now this can't be a 7 because it sees both of those. And the symmetry has been achieved. So orange is 5. Probably more helpfully, grey is 7. That can't be 7. That can't be 7. So there's a 7 in the top row there. That can't be 7. So one of those is 7. That must be the same deal. Because why can't I see? Ah, here. That can't be 7. So that's 7. And that's fixed 3 in the bottom row. Yes, it has. 3 is there. And that makes this a 3. So that's a 7. That's a 7, not an 8. That's not 7. That is. One of these is a 7, so that's not a 7 in the corner. That's a 7. And it's that one that is a 7 because of that. So all the 7s are done. Now, did I do all the 6s? No. But I've got a 6 there, so that's a 6. This is a 6. And now I may have done all this. No, I haven't. I've still got 1 here to do and 1 here. And that is all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. How am I doing on 5s? That one sees all of those cells. So 5 can go in there. And one of those. 5 is now in one of those 2 in box 3. It's got to be here in the corner. That places 5 here. That one is knights move away from things. So 5 there. 5 has gone in the centre, as it so often does in these beautiful symmetry puzzles. And here we go. We're just... Oh no, I've still got a 3. Can't be next to 7. That'll do. And that's a 3. So I'm just down to 8s and 9s for everything else. Let's get rid of all of the colouring I've done so far. Okay, let's colour these 8s and 9s that remain. So that one has to be that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. So that's one colour. The others are these. Now, I've missed one purple there. So that colours all the 8s and 9s. Now, one of them somewhere is next to a 1 or a 2. Otherwise, we can't disambiguate this puzzle. Here we go. This is next to a 1, so it cannot be 9. So greens are 8s. Purples are 9s, and we are done. And that is a lovely, lovely puzzle. You can see how beautiful that is, just from the starting position, how it resolves itself. Ah, I just love it. That is fantastic, Florian. Not as bad, thank goodness, as the 8 blocks puzzle for me. Really enjoyable stuff. Hope you had a go at that, because that's one of my favourite puzzles that I've done in ages. So clever. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the voice, and very much hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.